Welcome to Tablenauts. My name's Max.
I'm Doolin.
I'm Kenny.
And today we are rehashing an old video. We've been going through, well, Doolin more specifically has been going through old videos, and he was like, "Hey, this is a fun idea." And I don't know why only 400 people watched it 3 years ago or whatever it was. And I was like, that's a good point. So let's redo it. And added with inflation, we adjusted for inflation. The video was the best collection under $125. Well, $125 then is $140 now. So it's the best collection under $140. We've all prepared a list. We all spent a lot of time, right, Kenny, preparing a list, making sure that everything was in order. And we're here today to present those to you. And you, the listeners, need to tell us whose $140 list would you rather own?
I'm excited.
I'm not at all panic searching right now, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it.
Already, we're wildly different than last time we did this video because, for one, we're online, and two, Jash is now Kenny.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's an improvement, right?
I was going to say, we're all thankful for that. There might be some crossover. There might be some discussion, but we're just going to present them to you and see who you vote for. Hopefully it's me. It's going to be me, right? I'm going to run a giveaway, but specifically just for me. So if you comment Max wins in the comment section, I'll give away, I don't know, something. I promise you. I'll figure it out. It'll be a game on my shelf that I'll give away, but you have to comment.
Oh, on his shelf.
Max
That's like
wins.
one of 20 games.
So my first game, I'm kind of glad I'm going first. I got Skull King on here. It is my favorite small card game. $17 off Miniature Market, infinite replayability, and it's just kind of fun with any group. It's definitely my most played game, and I'm still not tired of it. So
that was it was on my list, and I was like, it'll be on Kenny's list, so I'm just not going to put it on mine.
Oh,
I did it.
That's
I
smart.
did it. Doolin, is it on your list? Do you want to go next?
It might be. We'll see.
Oh, okay.
But it's not my cheapest game.
Ooh, all right.
You know what? If I'm already hinting at it, I'll say Skull King for my first game as well, for very similar reasons to Kenny. But I also would love to have my own copy, just because it's a game that my family loves. It's a game that it works with you guys. Like, it's just a very versatile game in my collection, and it wouldn't be my collection if it didn't have Skull King in it.
Keep it away from Nacho, because my dogs ate my copy of Skull King.
Yeah.
So if you're out there, Grandpa Beck, if you're listening, I could use a copy of Skull King.
Come on, Grandpa Beck.
For the first game on my list, again, because I didn't pick Skull King, because I do think that Skull King is an incredible game, but don't vote for their list, still vote for mine. The first game on my list is Sea Salt and Paper for $11.49, which is a game that I have been playing a ton of, and yes, it is on Board Game Arena, but I am pretending. No, I'm not even pretending. I'm confident in these lists regardless. It is on Board Game Arena, but it is also a game I would like to own in person, and one I do not currently own, so I should buy it because it's only $11.49. It's a fantastic game. I love it. I think it could be played with gamers and non-gamers alike. It is just absolutely delightful. We've been playing with the Extra Salt expansion, which, not a conversation for today, but I'd actually like to hear your thoughts on the Extra Salt expansion, Doolin, because we have played a couple of games with it now, and it changes things up. I'm not sure if I like it or not, but I definitely like it. More than the base game or not. One of my favorites at this point in time, and I couldn't pass it up for that price.
My number 2 is, we can't have Blood on the Clock Tower here. It's too expensive. That'd be, how much is Blood on the Clock Tower? Like $150?
Probably $140-ish. Yeah, you're probably your whole list.
What
if I came in here and I was like, Blood on the Clock Tower?
Yeah.
And then you just watch
That's it.
I did consider doing something like that, because I think, okay, let's say I just lose everything and I'm starting over. The perfect game to have would be like a campaign game, just because that's the only game you got. You can actually get through it. The game I did choose is Social Deduction Game. It was actually very great. It's a really good price, and that is Deception Murder in Hong Kong. They have listed for $28. Yeah, this is I think
28?
28. Mm-hmm.
See, that's where I'd fight you, man. You
What?
can get a
It's too
copy of
expensive?
the Resistance Avalon for like $14.
I think Deception's quite a bit better than Resistance. I
Is
think
it doubly better? I'm just messing. It's a good
think
pick.
it's a better theme, and it's just gets people. It's easier to teach the people, and I think you just have better conversations around the table because of it. So
I think it's a less social deduction game, which in turn is a good or bad thing. For me, I prefer more social deduction, but you're absolutely right that you're going to get more people non-familiar with that genre to the table with deception than with the resistance. The resistance is a lot more daunting, whereas something like deception is much more approachable for most people. So wrong call, but it's fine. I'll give you props.
I forgot social deduction on my list. Honest, I did think about one though. I had Inside Job written as a possibility, which is a fairly cheap trick-taking social deduction game. But yeah,
well, I'm going to go look up something while we're talking. Maybe my list will change as this is actually happening. But go ahead, Doolin.
Are you going to add Inside Job?
Shh, don't even worry about it. I don't know what I'm going to add. I don't know what I'm going to add.
All right. I will go to my actual cheapest game, which is a very easy to talk about game. I found out 2 picks ago that it was actually 50 cents cheaper than I thought it was, and my other pick is Sea Salt and Paper for $11.50.
Yeah. I figured that was going to be our crossover, but then you mentioned no BGA games, and I was like,
well, I said all but one,
Oh,
and the reason is because Emily and I played we literally played this right before. I have the deck currently out right before we were recording, because Emily was like, we have 20 minutes before you're recording, let's play a quick game, and it's great. The expansion, it adds, I'm just not used to it yet, but I think in the long run it'll make the game better in my mind, but maybe not at 2. I don't know if 2
it
players
makes it
what that
harder
would be
to plan, because there's additional cards that you're used to being like, okay, well, if I take this card that means every sailboat is worth a point, I'm going to get some mileage out of that. You throw the expansion in the mix, you're getting less of these normal cards that you're used to getting, and those things that are like 1 point per only end up being worth 2 rather than the 4 or 5 you could kind of usually bank on. So it does make it a little bit harder to predict what you're going to get.
My new favorite card is probably the Starfish, which it adds 2 points to the value of a duo. But then you don't get the power of that duo. So it's like a push and pull of do I do this or not? Is that power really useful or not?
I don't remember what the actual symbol is. Is it it could be the seahorse that fills the spot of a card.
I've not gotten the seahorse at all.
So basically it makes it to where it's like a wild card for any duo.
Oh, wow.
And it counts for anchors. So you get 1 anchor and the seahorse, and I could be wrong, it might not be the seahorse, something. There's some card that counts as a wild. And so one anchor and 5 points, baby. 5 points ridiculous. Right there.
That's crazy.
I know. It's amazing. I love it. It's one of my favorites.
I've not been paying attention for the past 5 minutes. So
wow, you tune out on Sea Salt and Paper? What's wrong with that?
Kenny does not like Sea Salt and Paper, apparently.
No, I do, but I have no idea what you guys are talking about. So
I might change my list here, but this one's not going to change. I'm confident in this one. It's not leaving. Is innovation, which I think everyone else here might kind of poo-poo on. But I tell you what, man, this Carl Chudik game is I forgot to tell you how much it costs. It is $13.49 for a game that is huge. I mean, it's just cards, but innovation is massive, and a game that I absolutely adore. It's not one I play a lot of because basically Jeff is the only other person who plays it with me, but it is a phenomenal game. I really love innovation, and it's one of those that I've probably played 20 times and barely even scratched the surface of. So for $13.49, I cannot imagine the amount of dollar per play I'm going to get out of that in the future. So huge game in my opinion for such a small price. One of my that was. If there was a single game on my list that was locked in, not changing at all, it's innovation. That was the first thing I thought of. It was that is instantly in the collection and definitely not being swapped out for anything else.
I mean, it's $13. That's crazy.
It's a fantastic game for that price too. It's a fantastic game bar none, but it's a fantastic game for that price especially.
I respect it. Even though I don't like innovation, I respect it.
Do you have somebody you can play innovation with?
Me in real life?
Mm-hmm.
No, we figure things out later. We figure things out after the fact.
I'll
play innovation with you. Do you have any desire to play innovation there, buddy?
Yeah, I think it'd probably be more fun in IRL.
For sure.
Playing on BGM, I have no idea what's going on. That's just madness.
I think that's my biggest issue.
For sure.
I have a question for y'all. How many games do you have on your list?
1, 2, 3, 4,
I have
5,
six.
6 currently, but that may end up being 7 if I pivot here.
Oh, he's maneuvering.
I'm pivoting. We're doing it live. I'm figuring it out.
I would pivot, but I don't want to do the math in my head. This is intense.
I know, that's what I'm trying to do right now. It's making my head hurt.
So my next game is a little pricey, but I think it's well worth it, and that is Raw. It's $36. I think it's a really good price for the package you get, and it's like infinitely replayable. Get a little bit of Reiner Knizia, going. It's always nice.
Raw was a big consideration for me as well. I thought about a lot of the Reiner Knizia games. Like I thought about Raw, I thought about Babylonia, neither of which made the cut. But I was very much on the brain as far as like these games that are in that like $20 to $40 price range that are really nice. But
there is one I thought of that I bet Doolin's going to say, so I'm not going to say it.
You're probably wrong.
Okay, it's I think High Society would also be a great.
I did consider.
I thought about High Society as well.
That's only $20.
Yeah, I think that was the problem. I was like, it's only cards and it's $20. Like, what
I agree. I looked it up and I was like, that's just too much for it's not too much money for that game. Like if you're wanting to buy High Society, that's a great price. But for this list, $20 is too much.
They immediately thought of High Society because it was such like it's all it is cards, and I was like, that can't be that expensive. There's no way. And then I looked it up and I was like, it doesn't really fit. All right, my next pick is my solo game, so I won't spend too much time talking about it because I don't think either of these guys have played it, but it is, at least for me, infinitely replayable, and it would be one that would at least take up a lot of time if I didn't have the money to like keep buying games afterward, and that is Set a Watch for $22. Like that is just a whole lot of game for a very, very, very small amount. There's a ton of characters that you can play as, and you can mix and match your group, and a whole bunch of enemies that you're going to face every single time that changes the game. And Set a Watch, great game. I won't talk about it too much more, but if you like the idea of solo games, check out the solo video that I did of my top favorite games of all time, or top favorite solo games of all time, and it was on there, and I talked in length about it. But $22, great price.
That is a great price. I'm actually really shocked, by the way, that none of us picked a single Button Shy, because I very much considered it.
Yeah.
I considered a bunch of Button Shies, but not a single one actually made the final cut. Now,
I considered it way too late. Is my problem.
I will say, I just freed up some money because I replaced a more expensive game with a cheaper game. And so now it's not going to be in numerical order, just so you know.
That's fine.
Because I have to back in to $16.05 here in just a minute. And I'll tell you which one cut eventually. Actually, I'll tell you right now. I went ahead and on the fly, and maybe I'll regret it, but I don't know. I cut $29.99 Awkward Guests, and I replaced it with $13.99 The Resistance Avalon.
Okay.
I did want some sort of social deduction on my list, and I
talked yourself out of it.
Freaking love Awkward Guests. I love it. And maybe I have 2 more games. I could cut one of those and bring back in Awkward Guests. So like, call me. What's this? Moneyball. Call me Moneyball, baby. I'm doing it like we're doing it live. I'm calling everybody. I'm making trades. I'm making cuts. We're
on the clock.
Negotiating salaries. So we'll figure it out. But I did want to put in a social deduction game. Funnily enough, I've actually never played the Resistance Avalon, but I've played a lot of the Resistance, and I like the Resistance a lot. And I've heard that there's literally no reason to not play the Resistance to Avalon with everything they add into the game. So I have full confidence and trust in you people who've told me that. Shane, if you're watching, I have full confidence in you. Everyone who's mentioned that game, I hope it's good, because I couldn't put Blood on the Clock Tower in here, but the Resistance Avalon it's got to be sufficient enough for me. So that's what I'm going with, the Resistance Avalon. That brings me down to $101.03. So I've spent $38.97 so far.
Max, you're doing so good on money, man.
I got it, baby.
I'm already up to 50-50, and Kenny's up to, I don't know, most of his money.
What's next, Kenny?
All right, so this is my last game, because...
What?
I'm going for quality.
What?
We are too.
Game we love. The game we all love. That's Dune Imperium. I'm going to give Uprising.
Kenny wins.
$60. But It's well worth it, my dudes.
I'm just glad it's going to be in Kenny's list. I'm fine with that.
I took a sacrifice. I took the shot here so that we can all play this game to still.
Max is shocked, and I wonder if it's because Max has Dune on his list.
It's a great pick.
Hey, Kenny, we'll go back to me real quick. You gotta be a smarter shopper, baby, because I found Dune Imperium Uprising for $51, and it's on my list.
Where'd you get for $51?
The guard tower, and they even ship.
Oh, so
but if not, I could say, hey, Kyle, pick up Dune Imperium Uprising for me and bring it down. $51. So if you have a game for $9, Kenny, you can figure it out. You can back into it. You're welcome. I'm the smart shopper. I got you.
About $9, right?
Nah, they're $12.
$12. I'll find something.
Buy a dinged and dented copy of Dune Imperium.
If you see me like not paying attention to them too, well, that's usual. But I'm also going to be searching for.
Well, that's usual. Yeah. Fair enough.
My next one will probably be the biggest shock on my list, but it's a really good game, and we've all played it together. And I needed a polyomino style game, and it's the only one I could fit on the list because they're way too expensive. It's ridiculous. And this isn't even polyominoes; it's more like just puzzly. But I picked Rome in a Day for $22.
Nice, great game.
Great game. It's a I split.
It was
you
considered
choose
for me as well.
I'm glad. I split. You choose. What would you call it? Like almost like King Domino-ish.
Yeah, tile placement.
Tile placement, where you're trying to build all of these like lands together with their connecting like pieces that will multiply them points. But all of that is decided by you taking the pieces and splitting them up and like giving the other person the choice between two. But on top of that, trying to set them up in a way where they're going to pick the like worst one so that you get the one that you need. But might be better for them, but you're getting more of the benefit. And by the end of the game, it's always like, I don't know, you've built this really cool thing and you're nervous about what other people have, but you like what you've built. And I love this game. And I wish we played it more because it's in contention for that top 10 of last year games. It's just we've played a lot of games from 2023.
Agreed.
So Rome in a Day, $22. That's a really good price.
Agreed. Yeah, that was very, very high in consideration for me as well. Man, the time is running out. I feel like Howie at Uncut Gems right now. I already made my call for Dune Imperium Uprising, which brought me down from 101.03 to 50.03. So I have $50.03 left in this next game. If I were to cut one, I think it would be one of these next two games. That makes sense because it's the only two games you have left, Max, you dumb idiot. We are going to go with Trio or Nana.
Nice.
For $14.99, which is, ironically enough, you know what's really stupid about this list? It's really stupid about this list. I own one game on this list. I own a single game, and that is a game I haven't mentioned yet. I don't own Sea Salt and Paper. I don't own Innovation. I don't own Resistance Avalon. I don't own Dune Imperium Uprising, and I don't own Trio or Nana. So I've told you 5 games, but I tell you what, I do want these games. I really do. Mm-hmm. They've all been on my list for quite some time.
I think the thing that we have to establish is like all of our games are being burnt. So it's like I don't even have access to Kenny's games. I don't have access to Doolin's games.
We're starting from scratch.
Yeah. So like I get it. Like we have those games. You don't have to worry about them right now. But like if you didn't have access to them, you got to get them.
Doolin, you might be in a better place to actually tell the people what Trio and Nana are about. Now, if they've watched the channel, they probably know because you've mentioned it in the videos before. But I've actually only had the pleasure of playing this on BGA maybe once or twice, and then in person maybe once or twice. So not a lot, but I just found that it was a really just nice, like... It's like Go Fish almost level simple in many aspects, and I found that would be a game that I think would be perfect to like pull out with your family of your family of non-gamers rather, who can still like have fun with that just as much as you do. It's like a little bit of deduction. If you know me, you know I love deduction. I just think it's really fun. So if you can give me like a 1-minute spiel or less on what Trio or Nana is.
Yeah, so everybody has a hand of cards that they're...
I'm also telling you to do this because I need time to figure out what I'm doing, so thank you.
everybody has a hand of cards that was given out evenly, with also cards at the table face down. And the key mechanic of this game is just memory. You got to remember where what people are showing you, and also what got flipped over, because everything that doesn't turn into triples by the end of somebody's turn gets flipped back over. And on your turn, you will have to set your cards in the proper order from 1 to 12 and ask people the question, what is your lowest card, or what is your highest card? Or you can flip over a card at the front, in the middle of the table. And the moment that you get 3 of the same card, you get to collect that. And the first person to get 3 triples wins the game. That's why it's called Trio. And then Nana is 7 in Japanese. And the reason for that is because if you get the 3 sevens, you win the game. But this is just a very simple memorization style game, like Go Fish, but way gamier. Like I love this as a person who loves games, and I've even played it with heavier gamers, and heavy gamers love it too. But it's very approachable, very, very good game.
You're done, Kenny, huh?
No, I got one more.
Oh, thank
Oh
God.
yeah, he found something for $9 or $10.
With that $10 savings, I found Cockroach Poker for $10. Have you guys ever played this one?
Never
I've not,
played it.
but I've heard that it's good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's like kind of like a bluffing game where you're basically it's like bluffing with like the smallest bit of strategy. It kind of fill in as like a party game, but it is a lot of fun. You're just trying to figure out each other's tells and when someone's lying or not. Very rules light, like a game you could bring out with your family or your friends who'd never play games. It's great. It's a great one, I think.
All right,
okay.
I'll give Max some time with my next pick. I have $66 left, and I'm 2 games left. 2 games left that I'm going to choose. One of which is $30, and this is my
can I guess?
skirmish game. So go ahead, based off of that.
Not a skirmish game. No idea.
An incredible game that I've fallen in love with over the last 2 or 3 months. And what's really cool is I've been playing this remotely with Jeff, and this is Undaunted Normandy. And maybe if I saved up some more money, I could get eventually the reinforcements package and be able to play it solo. But this game is incredible. I actually wouldn't even mind. It's not a game where as you go through this campaign where you can't replay it. I would gladly replay it with somebody else. It's just really fantastic. And I needed a skirmish game. I love dudes on a map fighting each other, but they're really expensive a lot of the time. And this for $30 is a steal. So I was very happy to fit it on my list.
That's a great price. I backed out of and back into Awkward Guests.
Nice.
We are keeping
Nice.
Awkward Guests at $29.99. I think it's a fantastic deduction game, one of my favorites. I loved Clue growing up, and I think this is just Clue but better. If you follow the channel at all, you've probably seen me talk about Awkward Guests on multiple occasions, so I don't need to spend too much time on it, but it is a deduction game that I think works fantastically. I've not played the solo, but I've heard it's great, all the way up to 6-7 player count. It's just it works well. There's not a lot of downtime regardless of the fact of what players you're playing with. I think it's just great. And selfishly, I'm pretty good at deduction games, and I like it. I think it's fun. It's enjoyable to me. And they stopped playing Clue with me, so I bought a new deduction game that they then played with me. But Awkward Guess is great. One of my favorites. I couldn't not. It's in my top 12. I think it's right. It might even be my top 10. It might be in my top 10 working all time.
That's awesome.
It's up there for sure. That does leave me with $5.05, which I am just going to say counts for some shipping costs. I initially tried to get Decrypto and Radlands for under $35, but it was $35.35. So Decrypto and Radlands would have been my 2 that I might have fit in otherwise. But I'm locked in at Awkward Guess for $29.99.
I like that pick. This is a good time to shout out. We just had Awkward Guess 2 in Spanish arrive, and Emily and I are attempting to learn all of the rules.
Is it in Spanish?
Right now. Yeah, it's in Spanish. That was the only way we could get a copy. Was they were we only have Spanish copies. So, but they sent it to us, and we're learning it. It's a very different game. Very different game.
Interesting.
You're not only trying to stop. Solve a murder, you're also trying to plan a murder. which is just like bonkers. And there's dice involved. We're still trying to figure that out. But yeah, Awkward Guest 2.
Does it seem language dependent? Like, are we going to be able to play this, or
we're going to be able to play? It's there's not as much text on the cards as last time. And Emily and I even said if we have to, we can like put little
translate something.
Yeah. All right, Kenny, you are out of money, so I'm going to go with my last pick, which was the very first game I put on it. I needed an area control game, and I have $36.
Now I have a guess.
Go for it.
Tammany Hall.
It is Tammany Hall.
Yeah.
This was the easiest pick because of how cheap it is. And
it almost went on mine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really? I love that.
Yeah.
When I think of the best area control games for cheap, The King is Dead comes up in my brain. El Grande, even now, like the new version is pretty cheap. Mm-hmm. And was there any others really like
Lords of Ragnarok?
Yeah.
I don't know how
I thought about like Inish and stuff, but it's still almost $50. Yeah. Like you're looking at 45 minimum. So,
but Tammany Hall, even though like I would love it to be just a little bit cheaper, $36, I was like, this is in my top 5 games of all time. I love it.
Whoa, top 5.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's perfect.
That's crazy.
The catch up mechanics as well as the different like player powers are just so good.
Mustard guy myself, but you know. Yeah, I had to make up for Josh being gone. Sorry.
No, I'm good with that. Yeah, it's fine.
All right, run through your whole list, Doolin, top to bottom. You don't have to say prices.
Sea Salt and Paper. I hardly know her. That's for you, Josh. Skull King, Set a Watch, Rome in a Day, Undaunted Normandy, and Tammany Hall.
Kenny, what you got?
I also got Skull King, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, Raw, Dune Imperium Uprising, and Cockroach Poker.
And I got
I love that that's like the last
paper. Innovation, The Resistance Avalon, Dune Imperium Uprising, Trio or Nana, however you say it, Awkward Guests, and Shipping.
And Shipping. Thank you guys so much for doing this video. I loved revisiting this, and if you guys had fun revisiting one of our old videos, let us know in the comments not only who won out of the 3 of us, but also any old videos that you think we should, revisit. This one I really wanted to because I was like, my picks are completely different than they were then.
Terrible.
And I'm sure there's a couple videos like Max, one of our first videos you did was top party games of all time, and that is still getting watched today. And I'm like, we would change our picks today easily.
Yeah,
other than
I really
need
to remake that too because I admit it doesn't feel good when people comment about it, but I was not a very great presenter then, and I still get comments to this day like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Man, I don't know. I was full sending it. We were having
your
a good
fault.
time."
If you're commenting on a video from 3 years ago, know that we can't change it. There's no chance. It's done. Like it's in the history books, all right?
Yeah. So we should revisit that. But monikers, I mean, you all know. That's number 1, baby. Always and forever. Thank you for watching. As always, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of this type of content. Like Doolin said, if you want to watch any older videos and say, hey, you should revisit this. You should do that again. Especially now that Jash guy is gone and this way cooler Kenny guy is here. You should try it out again. And we agree with you. That's why we're doing this. But thank you, as always, for watching. Thank you, Doolin and Kenny, for being here. And we'll see you next time.